What's going on, everybody? Villa in Noir. It is a bonus video during this international break. I know, we're missing the boys, we're missing the games, but they'll be back soon. And in this period of quietness, I guess, I felt the need to do something different that I probably can replicate as the season goes on. So what we're doing today is an international break tier list. So I'm going to be ranking the Villa players based on their performances since the last international break. Before I do anything, remember, you know what I'm going to say? Like, comment, subscribe. And this is the video. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions because this is just my subjective opinion. And you might have different understandings or thoughts about where I've put players in this tier list. So for clarification, so I'm judging these rankings on the full season rankings in terms of how I've rated them from the beginning of the season. So this is ranking them based on the games that have happened since the last international break. So from mid-September until they went away last week. In terms of the Premier League games, that's the game against Everton, Sunderland, Fulham and Burnley. The Carabao Cup game against Brentford, taking that into account, and the Europa League games against Bologna and Feyenoord. Okay, so those are the 7 games that I'm basing these rankings on. And anyone that knows Villa, has been following Villa, you know that the performances have been completely different based on that period of time. Because we got our first wins, we've only lost 1 game in that period of time as well. So yeah. So here we have the tier list, and the rankings are going to be S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, and D tier. And in those tiers, it's basically from rankings from 1 to 10. 1 being the worst, 10 being incredible and at the best. So if you're in a D tier, you've got a 1 or 2 out of 10. C tier, 3 or 4. B, 5 or 6. A, 7 or 8. And S, 9 or 10. Okay, hopefully that gives clarity. And let me know where you place these same players. Some of these players won't appear on the list because they've been injured or have just returned back from injury. So there's not really a great scope of performance to be able to rate out of 10. So let me know what your thoughts are. I'm interested to hear what you have to say. Let's start from the back. We're going to go from goalkeeper all the way through to the front. Okay. So let's start with Emiliano Dibu Martinez. Okay, so he has been a polarizing figure for Villa since the last international break. I believe that some fans don't want him to be playing for us. I personally think he's our best keeper. But in terms of his performances since the last international break, I think there's something to be said about the best form of ability, which is availability. And he hasn't played a whole load of games. Marco Bizot has actually come in for him. But in his performances, I think he's been quite sure at the back. I think he gives us a stability and a calmness that we know we've got a really good shot stopper, and he's made some great saves. You know, the goal that we conceded against Burnley, someone could say that it's his fault, but I'm going to give him a ranking of a B, so a 5 or 6 out of 10. I don't think he's reached the heights to be put in that A or S tier, but you know, hopefully with a run of games, we'll see that. Marco Bizot. Okay, let's go. Marco. He has been a revelation in the sense that we know we have a decent to good second keeper. I consider him my second keeper in games where he's come in last minute. So I believe it was the Bologna game where he came in last minute, where Emmy was meant to play and for whatever reason didn't play. I think it was that game. It might have been another game, but you know, he's come in last minute, and his performances in this period have been good in the main. Nothing incredible, nothing outstanding, I would say. Someone could say something different. But again, I'm going to slap him in the B tier. And for those that do feel like Emmy is a problem, is there a goalkeeper battle here? I don't know what your thoughts are. I don't think so, personally, because I think Emiliano Dibu Martinez is one of the best keepers in the world, and you want that person in the middle of the sticks. Okay, let's go on to defenders. Matty Cash. Now, Matty, my good friend Matty. Any fans or any followers of Villa Noir know my thoughts and feelings about Matty Cash. However, in the last 7 games, I think he's been one of our most consistent, better performers. He scored that wonder goal against Sunderland, and his performances defensively have probably become a lot more assured. The mistakes seem to have slowed down. He's been a lot more attacking. And whether that's to do to a little bit more consistency in terms of what's in front of him, I believe he's been one of our better players. And for that, I'm actually going to slap him in the A tier. I know, bro. I know. The A tier, and that's not an 8 out of 10. That's definitely like a 7, like a solid 7. But I didn't want to put him in the B tier. I don't think it would have been fair. He has been one of our better performers, but I want to say it's a low A. You know, it's an A minus. But he's been one of our better performers in this season so far, in this period of time. Victor Lindelof came in, you know, he settled in. I don't think he's done anything outstanding. I feel like he just comes on and fills gaps, and that's good. And I think that's the role that he's going to fulfill for us in the season. I can't really slap him in a B tier because I haven't seen enough of him to be able to put him in the B tier in terms of game time. So I'm going to slap him in the C tier. But it's no disrespect to him. It's just that we haven't seen enough of him in this season. Tyrone Mings, who has now picked up an injury, I believe that he's been a solid defender, especially in the Premier League setup. And, you know, solid at the back. Does have a mistake in him. Sometimes it looks a bit shaky when the ball's at his feet and he has to play out. But he does have those games where he's just unplayable. And I believe he brings stability to the back and a strength to the back that we sometimes lack. But yeah, I feel like he sits a nice solid B. I've already talked about 6 out of 10, maybe 6.5. But yeah, he's not. I haven't seen him get to the A tier yet. Luca Dean. Now, this is one that I'm gonna be. Luca Dean is interesting for me. At the beginning of the season, I was screaming for Ian Maatsen. And there are games where I feel like Unai can kind of play them off each other. They've both got different types of attributes, both different types of players. But I do think Digne probably has a more rounded, complete game. And his last game for us against Burnley, I believe that he showed why he might be Unai's favoured left back. I think I'm gonna put him in A, not because I feel like he is an A tier, but I think defensively we've been strong, and I think when he's in our back four, it's a lot stronger, right? And by default, then I think Ian Maatsen, I think he's been great overall. He is a bit of a liability defensively, right? A bit of a liability defensively. However, he's not performed badly. You know, it hasn't been a crazy mistake. So I can't slap him in a C. I'm going to slap him in a B. Right? It's like next to Tyrone Mings. And this is kind of cool to see that our defenders overall are playing at a mid level. We want to see more going higher and higher. Andres Garcia, I'm going to leave him here because this brother, we ain't seen him. We haven't seen him. And let's get on to Pau. So Pau, I think he was a bit shaky at the beginning of the year, but the last 2 performances for me have been top tier. He brings a je ne sais quoi. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds fancy. But he brings a finesse to our game that other players don't seem to have in terms of from the back, and the system that Emery wants to introduce where we're able to play those balls from the back that can split defences. I think he's been top tier, and hopefully he can progress further. Now, if I'm going to slap him with, I can't put him with Mings because I think he's been better than Mings. I would say that he's been a 7, solid 7 out of 10. Solid 7 out of 10. So I'm making it clear these are sevens at the minute. These are 7s out of 10s in this section here. And then Esri, I think he has been, in terms of comparison to the rest of the Villa players, I think he's the player, one of the players that, you know, firmly sits in this spot here in the A section. Firmly sits in the A section. But there might be an argument that he could just can get a 9. You know, he can sneak in there. I'm in two minds. I'm gonna leave him here now. I might change my mind a little bit later. He's been one of our best players. But if you notice, this is our back four. This is our best back four. So it's showing, innit? It's showing where the quality lies for the team. Let's move now into our midfielders. Let's start with one of our loanees, Jadon Sancho. Now, Jadon is a very interesting character because obviously, I don't know if people know, there's some things going on outside of football that could be seen as problematic in terms of his relational status and the person that he's dating and all the things there. But when he's been on the pitch, which we haven't seen him for a few games, I think he wasn't well or whatever. You know, I haven't seen him for the last couple of games. When we've seen him on the pitch, he's done some nice things. However, the best ability is availability. And because of that, I can't put him in the section with Ian Matson and Tyrone Mings. I can't do it, man. So unfortunately, Jadon, you are going to sit in a C. I know a C sounds harsh, but when you are on the pitch, you're doing great things. We just haven't seen it enough. So that's that. Same again then for really Harvey Elliott. Again, you know, whether that's an issue between him and Unai, I don't know. But I'm going to slap him in the C tier just because, obviously, I haven't seen enough of him. When he has come on, he's done some good. You know what? Actually, when he has come on, he's done some good stuff. Let me put him. I'm going to give him a B. It's a 5, though. All right? It's a 5. It's a 5, okay? Alrighty. Let's move on to the players that we've seen more of. Buendia. Now, I know this is probably going to frustrate people because he's been scoring. I get it. But I personally don't like how we play when Buendia is on the pitch. I feel like we lose pace. I feel like we lose width. And the system that's worked so well or has been working so well, I don't think it works with him on the pitch. Him and Rodgers can't coexist in my personal perspective. And if I'm going to make a choice between Emmy and Morgan, whether or not people agree with me, I'm going to choose Morgan every single time. I think that the ceiling is way higher with him. So I'm going to put Emmy here. I know some people might not be happy about that, but I'm going to put him there. Okay. Has he been a 6 out of 10? That's the question. I think the goals bump him up. Let's put him in the A. All right, let's put him in the A because I think the goals and the contributions bump him up. And then by same, let's talk about Morgan Rodgers. So Morgan hasn't been great, but we've seen his perseverance start to come through in the last few games. His assist against Feyenoord showed that what he's trying to do. And I think if you watch the games, he does make runs that just don't get picked out. He does try and do movement off the ball. He does look a bit lazy in defence. But I think in the last few games, I've seen a better output from him defensively. But without the goals, without the assists, cannot slap him in anything higher than a B. And at present, it's going to be a low B. All right, it's a low B. I can't put him in the C. It's a low B. I know many will be like, nah, man, it's crap. Put him in the C tier. But I personally think he just hasn't been scoring. And you know, I really hope that the form that he's had with England, he can rediscover. Well, can bring it back to Villa Park. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Again, so I'm not going to do Onana, not doing Barkley, not doing Tielemans. Evan Gesant, it's a B. It's a B. He does well, and his B isn't Morgan Rogers' B. His B is, I'm gonna say, like a 6. All right, it's not a 5. He's trying hard, just needs that extra bit of quality in the final third, and I think we can see him bumped up to an A. Boubacar Kamara, I think it goes without saying. This man, without him, we aren't the team that we are. I'm going to slap him in A. And it's a high A, so I'm going to put him up there with Ezri. It's a high A, right? It's a high A. Because he gets us ticking, bro. He is the metronome. In the last game against Feyenoord, he was the pivot point. It was like Emery's like, yo, you're going to be our Pirlo. You and the next person I'm going to talk about, Lamar Bogard. I think that them two together have been really good. So again, let's put Bogard up there as well. I think he's been an absolute find, and I want to see him start the next few games if possible in that double pivot with Kamara, and we go from there. I think he's been definitely like a 7-8 out of 10 easily. So he's up there in that A tier. Brother McGinn. Now, he has been a revelatory for us. We know that he tries hard. We know that he's the engine of the team, but he has been pivotal in goal scoring for us, which you wouldn't actually expect. I'm sure he's like a top goal scorer at the moment, and he's just been the driving force, and he is undroppable, which makes it difficult in terms of Tielemans, and which is why I'm going to slap this man, Super John McGinn, in that S tier, because I believe that S tier has been made for him. S for Super John McGinn. He has been our talismanic player, our engine room. I think he handles the captaincy with humility. He knows he's not going to play 90 minutes, but he doesn't get in a huff, doesn't get in a puff. And yeah, that's our guy. So I'm going to slap him in the S tier for us. And the last two that we're going to look at today, Donyell Marlon and Ollie Watkins. Let's go for Ollie first. Really and truly, I want to slap this man here. However, I can't do that because he has scored a goal. And we have seen him pick up his effort in the last few games. So I'm going to slap him in the C tier. And that sounds crazy, doesn't it? Sounds nuts that Ollie Watkins is that low. But he is, personally, at present, not playing to standard. I don't think he's anywhere near the A tier. And I don't know if he's really playing at a B tier setting as well. I don't feel comfortable putting him in with these guys, knowing the performances that we've seen from him. The penalty miss against Bologna. I know he scored against Fulham, but, the chances that he's missed, maybe this is some motivation. Maybe you can watch this and be like, yeah, I'm motivated to do better. But yeah, Ollie Watkins. Sitting in the C tier. And Donyell Marlon, I'm going to slap this man up here. In terms of the last 7 games, when he's been given the opportunity, especially in the last few games, he's been transformational. And I think he has to be in our forward rotation. If we're going to go with that 4, even though it's not 4-2-3-1, with a 4-3-3 kind of vibe, he needs to be in that front 3. So this is where we currently stand with my tier list. You might agree, you may not agree. Let me know your thoughts. I'm really interested to hear whether you think this list is egregious or not. But currently, D tier, nobody. C tier, Watkins, Lindelof, Sancho. B tier, Martinez, Bizot, Mings, Matson, Elliott, Rogers, Giesand, A-tier, Marlon, Boubacar Kamara, Bogard, Konsa, Cash, Digne, Powell, Buendia, and currently in S, McGinn. I'm actually going to move Konsa up, you know. I don't think it's fair to slap him in with these guys, even though these guys in the main have been pretty decent. But I think Konsa, like McGinn, has separated himself from the pack in terms of his performances and stability and consistency as well. So, yeah, I'm going to slap him in there. It's definitely a 9 rather than like a 9.5 or 10. It's definitely a 9, a low 9. I'm still struggling with Buendia because, yeah, I just have my own issues there. But he has contributed in terms of some pivotal things. So, yeah, this is my tier list. I probably will do this again at Christmas to see if things have changed, see if things have shifted, see if things have changed in any way. Have people dropped off? Have people been better? But yeah, this is it. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe. If this list is egregious, please let me know. As always, guys, you know this is Villa in Noir, and as always, it's up the Villa. Peace.